Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about price objections and other objections that come up in your sales process that'll eventually lead to you not getting a signature on that contract. All right, I'm Andrew with the Ultimate Landscape Academy, and over the last 23 years in the landscape industry, I've started, scaled, and exited my own business, and now I help landscapers build the life that they want and a business that supports them to get them there. All right, so like I said, in today's video, we're going over objections and how we avoid them so we can get more signatures on contracts. When I was running my hardscape business, in the beginning, I used to send estimates by email. Sometimes I would just drop them off at their house and even mail them. And a lot of the times I would then get either a call back or an email or a text, and it'd be something along the lines of, hey, thanks for the estimate, we've decided to go in another direction. Or, hey, we went with a lower bid. Or thanks, but we're working with another contractor. These are just pricing objections, right? They basically just said, hey, this isn't what we want. I'm not gonna work with you, right? Or worse, I wouldn't hear anything at all. But the thing is that was leading to a lot of wasted time. I had to go and meet with these clients. I had to do the measurements. I had to sometimes do some design, simple stuff. And then I had to create the estimate and give it to them. That took a lot of time out of my day to stop me from doing other things like lead generation or building my team or going out and actually getting more signatures. So the problem with that was that it was a big waste of time and then I got no results. So a big shift happened for me in the business probably about year 4. And I wish it had happened sooner, but I was doing it all by myself with trial and error. And that shift is that I no longer just sent estimates out to people and left them. Right? I would go and I would meet with them to review the estimate. And while that helped so that I could work through objections with them, I was still getting pricing objections, right? I had the estimate, here it is, put it down in front of them. And then they're like, yeah, this is more than we thought for the project. And the thing is that at that point in time, the person inside you who wants to help people and give them the space and wants the business is like, oh, well, listen, I could do it for this, but I've done it for this guy. And you just start talking about yourself and the customer doesn't care. It's already too late, all right? So today I'm going to talk about how we avoid that, and it's going to be through qualifying questions, okay? When you wait to the end and then try and fix an objection, it's usually too late. So we want to take care of them at the beginning, and we do those on the initial phone call, all right? So today I'm going to talk about those. First things first, when you get on that initial phone call, you're obviously going to ask their name. It's important to know their name and to use it during that call, right? People like to hear their own name. You're also going to ask probably about what the project is, maybe a little bit about the size of it and things like that, right? Those are the generic questions. Those are what everybody should be asking anyway. Once you have those, I want you to dive a little bit deeper. The first question you're going to want to ask has to do with the importance of it to the homeowner. You want to find out why it's important to them. So a question like, hey, John, can you tell me a little bit more about the walkway you told me about and why it's important to you? Anything that I should know before we meet? This kind of question will pull from them what's important, all right? They may tell you about timing. They may tell you about the budget. They may tell you about this birthday party, the grandma's retirement, the thing coming up that they want it done for. So now you're connecting not just the fact that you might be able to do the work, but you care about them and why it's important to them. This is huge in setting you apart from somebody else. All right. Now, the second question that you want to ask is always, always, always about timing. When were you looking to have this project completed? Because one of the biggest wastes of time is to go and meet with someone, do up an estimate, give it to them because you're booked 3 months out, and then they're like, oh, we need this done next week, right? I mean, that's unrealistic. Let's be honest. You're not going to find somebody that's available next week. But if you don't know their timing, then that's an objection that's going to kick you in the ass later on. So ask why they need it done or when they need it done. And then you have an opportunity to let them know what your schedule is like. They're calling to get an estimate from people that are available to work with their needs. If you can't fulfill their needs, then don't try and ram an estimate down their throat and hope they'll sign. It's not going to happen. All right. Tell me more about your timing. When were you looking to have this job done? If they say it's next year, you don't need to meet with them right now. It'll save you your time. If they say, oh, something later this fall, then you know you either have time to do it, you need to get it there now. Or if they're like, yeah, we need it done next week, then you need to dive a little bit more. Like, why does it need to be done next week? And I'll tell you, think about the mail system. If you want to send mail and it takes a couple weeks to get there, it's like, whatever, 25 cents a dollar to send a, package, whatever it is. But if you want it there today, you're spending 30, 40, 50 bucks, sometimes more, depending on the size of it, to get it there quickly. People will pay more money for expedited services. So if you can shift something in your schedule and push your schedule by a week or a few days to get their job in because it's important to them, they might be willing to pay that expedited fee and you make better margins, all right? Now they're happy that you did the work for them. They don't care that they paid more because they wanted it that bad. Now, the third question, and arguably one of the most important qualifying questions, this is the number one way that'll avoid price objections, is to ask them about their budget. Hey, John, What kind of budget or investment have you set aside for a project like this? And I'm gonna tell you a secret right here. When you ask that question, the next thing you need to do is shut the f up. Don't say anything else. Ask them the number and then be dead silent. All right? I've seen it and I've heard it. I even did it myself where you ask a number and then you're like, you want to explain. You're like, well, a project of this nature costs this much and I've done this, and just let them talk. Budget and numbers are uncomfortable to talk about because since we were a kid, we were told don't talk about money. So people are uncomfortable talking about this with a contractor. They're afraid they might take more than they're supposed to or that they'll rip them off. You want to know this, by the way, and if they ask you why do you need to know my budget? You can say, and it's super simple, is we design to a budget. If I don't have a budget, I can spend $1,000 in the same place or I can spend $10,000 in the same space. So I want to know your budget so that I can tailor a design that will meet your needs, right? When you talk to them that way, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's not trying to rip me off. He actually cares about what we want to spend here, all right? Now, I'll tell you right now, very few people will be honest and open with what they want to send because they always want to spend less money. We all want to spend less money. So you need to get them going in this conversation on the phone to make it so that you can have a further conversation when you meet with them. So if they won't talk about the number with you on the phone, and I'll be honest, most of them won't, like I said, it's uncomfortable, then you need to ask them one final question, all right? And you need to get a yes from them before you ever meet with them. Hey, John, I understand knowing what a project of this nature might cost is kind of difficult for you. You're not in the industry. So can we just agree that when we meet in person, we'll nail down a budget so that we can make sure we bring you something in line with what you want? Then they're going to say yes. All right. And then when you get there and you meet with them, you have all these other qualifying things you're going to ask them about what's important to them, what they're looking to do on site, but you're going to have the number conversation. Hey, John, remember when we were on the phone, we talked about budget, you didn't really know? Well, now that we're here and we've talked about this area, this is approximately, and give them a range. Here's the approximate value for this area based on all the other years of experience in the projects that we've done. And I want to make sure that we deliver to you what you want for the budget that makes sense. So you tell me, based on what we've talked about here, I'm thinking it's X to Y. What do you think about that? When they agree with a number in front of you, and let's say they go, yeah, you know what, 15K is about what we were thinking. In your mind, you said it's like 15 to 20. Okay, it's at 15. So what you need to go home and do is figure out how you can give it to them for 15. And very important, nobody spends every penny they have on their landscaping, which means if they had exactly what they wanted for 16 or 17, they may still go ahead with it. All right. But you want to bring them something as close as possible around the 15 mark. And what I strongly recommend you do is have an additional estimate built for them that may be more in line with what they've actually asked for, because people will always say they want to spend less than the value of the project, right? So bring them something around the 15 mark, probably a different material or a lower grade material or slightly smaller size, whatever it may be. And then have the second one, right? You can have it in your book next to you and say, hey guys, listen, I brought you one at 15 because that's what you wanted. And I know we talked about that, but I want to point out a few key things about this 15 and then you'll run through them. I've got another one here. It's for 17.5 or maybe it's for 18. And I know that's more than what you were looking to spend, but I just want to give you a couple pointers on why this one is higher, because it's actually more in line with what you were looking for, what you were asking for when we met. And I'd hate to deliver you something at 15 that isn't exactly what you want if you're willing to spend 18, all right? And then you show them the differences, all right? This is how you provide service to the customer. Again, we've already qualified them with timing, and you make sure that when you provide the estimate, the timing for install aligns. You've also known why this is important to them, so you loop that back in with telling them that we can get this done because I know this is important to you, or this is for timing, whatever it may be. So now they know you care about them and it aligns with their goals. Now they know the timing works out with everything, and you've brought them a number on budget. Why wouldn't they sign? All right. Use these 3 questions in your next phone call and apply the principles to meeting with them on site. When you present your estimate, I guarantee you the chances of getting signatures is going to go up. Your number of objections because of price is going to go down. And lastly, I want to say, if you are serious about growing your business over the next 12 months, you've decided that the life and that the path that you're on isn't exactly what you want. So you want a better life for you and for your family, and you want a better business so that you can service more people. At the end of the day, make more money, scale your teams, and leave a legacy behind. That I want you in my mentorship program. All right. Book a call, the link below. Whatever you do, Take these questions and put them into use in your business. You get more signatures on contracts, you do more jobs, and you leave more happy customers behind.